What's going on, everyone? Let's talk about 1985's Demons 1 and 2. I'll try to get my second review up later tonight, so look for that. But for now, let's talk about Demons 1. Directed by Lamberto Bava and produced by Dario Argento, and stars Argento's daughter. And this is about a group of random strangers who go to the movie theater for a special screening of some horror film, and the movie comes to life. What happens in the movie starts happening in the theater, and people are turning into demons, and shit gets crazy. I recently picked up the Synopsis Blu-ray, which is terrific. If you love these movies, I highly recommend picking it up. It also has these cute little things in here. You got the ticket that they have in part one. This is the movie ticket to the Metropole Theater. And then you even got this little birthday card for Sally's birthday, a little invitation to her birthday party. It says, Sally Day, that's her name, Sally Day's birthday party at the Tower Complex. So, and then it even comes with a poster. So I was not expecting this when I bought it. So they give you a Demons poster in here as well. I got it on Amazon for only like $32. So 2 movies, a poster, and little cute little gifts like that for $32. That's not bad. So let's start with the negatives, shall we? Because I don't have too many bad things to say about it. The only thing that I feel like hurts the film, and they do it again in part 2, is the whole subplot of the people outside the theater. Just these random characters that are just underdeveloped, you don't care about them, and they don't do anything really to the story that's happening at the theater. Like when they get there, they never bump into our characters, I don't believe, or I feel like a few of them die off camera, we never see them again, so it's like, what's the point? Like, I get that they let because they get there, one character gets out, but they could have written that to happen some other way. They didn't need to waste so much time cutting back and forth between what's happening in the theater and what's happening in this car of thieves. So that just should have been taken out of the film completely. Not to say I don't enjoy some of the little things that they do. I like how they're snorting cocaine out of a Coca-Cola can. So there's little goofy things provided because of those characters, but at the end of the day, you don't really need them, and they just kind of mess with the flow of the movie, the pace. Like I just want to stay with the action that's happening in the theater. I don't want to keep cutting back to them. And one small little nitpick, it's something I didn't notice the other 2 times I watched this film, but the background, like fight choreography, was pretty bad. When you actually like focus in on what people are doing back there, how the demons are attacking them, it's like they're not even trying to attack them. Like one dude has a demon on top of him, and it looks like she's about to like Eskimo kiss him, and like doesn't even try to bite him, and just stands back up and just starts walking away from the dude. And the dude just is like, okay, bye, demon. And like that demon did nothing to that person, just walked away, and that person never looked frightened once. So the background action needed some better choreography. But getting into what I like about the movie, I love the premise. It's basically Evil Dead in a movie theater. And I like how the movie kind of mirrors what's happening in the theater. Someone in the movie gets scratched by a mask, turns into a demon, happens to, hooker, I guess is what she is, right? This pimp has these 2 hookers with him. And so things are happening just like in the movie, and that movie within the movie looks just as good as the movie we're watching. So I want to see that movie also that they're watching at the theater. And because I'm such a gore hound, I love the practical effects in this movie, all the gore. There's so many different kills in here, a huge body count, scalpings, eye gougings, and just huge chunks of flesh being bit off of people. You get demon transformations. So that was awesome to see. Teeth like pushing out other teeth and the fingernails. So it was pretty awesome shit. It was great to look at, and the look of the demons are pretty frightening. How they vomit up like weird colored like goo, like it's almost like street trash, almost like they just have like different color. Like they all have like their own different colors. Some are like puking orange, and some are like spitting out some kind of blue green like puke. It's just crazy. The movie has a terrific finale. The whole third act is just so much fun. You got a great set piece with like a dirt bike and a helicopter, and helicopter blades chopping at these demons, and it just gets so crazy. You're just like, what are they gonna do next? It's so unpredictable, and I like that they don't waste so much time with like exposition and explaining why this stuff's happening. Like, we don't need to know. It's a movie that's just meant to have fun. You just take your brain out, leave it at the door, and just watch this film for the kills, the gore, and also the soundtrack. 80s rock and like Motley Crue and all kinds of different bands. Like, this is in the mid 80s. This is when rock and roll was, very popular. And I love the cinematography, the look of the theater, how it's lit. There's some cool shots. You got that shot that's on the original poster, the demons with their glowing eyes, and you got like a lot of backlighting and lots of blues and yellows and reds. Like, it looks like an Argento picture. And I like that this movie has standout, like, quirky characters and people you like the Tony the Pimp and his two horrors that he brought to the theater being obnoxious, and he's just got some great dialogue. And also, you got the blind guy who brings their blind dad to the movie theater. So, final thoughts: this is a fast-paced, highly rewatchable, just balls to the wall, crazy demon film that has like almost everything that I look for in a good horror movie. It has a couple of small flaws, but I still love it, and it's easily my favorite film by Lamberto Bava. So when it comes to demons, I'm giving this baby 4.5 stars. Alright, time for a spoiler discussion. So first, let's talk about this Chrome Skull dude. Who is he exactly, and how did that mask became a part of his face? We find out later on that this guy, who's played by like Mico Suavi, the Italian director, he did like Cemetery Man, he's the one handing out tickets. We find out later on that he's the guy in the movie who gets infected, gets scratched by the mask, and it's like the mask is a part of his face now. He's like a cyborg. So, such an interesting character. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Like, so he survived the movie, and now it's like his job to create the next movie by inviting these people to the theater and to infect them, and then somebody else in the sequel will be donning the mask also. I don't know. If you want to play a little fun drinking game in the opening 5 to 10 minutes, take a drink every time somebody in the background looks at the camera. So many people are looking at the camera. And I thought it was funny that Dario Argento put a Four Flies on Gray Velvet poster on the wall at the theater. And the blind guy seems to automatically sense evil in this theater. He's like talking to his daughter saying, "Don't touch the mask." But then the mask gets taken by the hooker, and she puts it on her face and scratches herself. But it was interesting. Like, really? How does he know? I guess in the good old days in the 1980s, movies didn't have trailers before them. It just starts the picture right away. No trailers for 20 fucking minutes like every movie I go to. And this guy says top of the pops. That's a new expression. I've never heard that one before. He says something like, "Oh yeah, that was top of the pops back in the day." I've never used that expression before. And the blind guy has his daughter just narrate and explain the entire movie to him as it's happening. Like, all right, what are they doing now? Okay. And it's like, what's the point? You're just gonna irritate the shit out of everybody there. And then his daughter just runs off with some other guy to start making out with him and doesn't think that she's gonna get like caught. Like, it's her job to constantly describe the film to him, so as soon as you get up and walk away, he's gonna be calling for you. So you shouldn't be so surprised that he's calling for you like 5 seconds later. Like, where are you, Liz? What's happening in the movie? The girl walking up and down the aisle with the flashlight, she's that little girl actress in what's it called, Deep Red, and she did all kinds of Italian films back in like the 70s, and then she stopped acting shortly after this. And she's dressed like a fucking elf. What kind of outfit is that? And so then the one chick, she runs to the bathroom, and this is when we get our first cool effects. And you see the boil pop, all kinds of yellow liquids coming out. It's awesome. And her teeth are pushing out, demon teeth coming in. And then her friend comes in, and she claws at her throat, and somehow her friend gets lost. Like, she knew how to get to the bathroom, but then when she ran away from her friend, she somehow got lost and got behind the movie screen. Not sure how that happened. But I like that because she's behind the movie screen, that when she claws her way through it, it's just like what's happening in the movie on the screen, with the knife going through the tent, breaking it open, and she breaks through the screen at the same time. So that was pretty clever. The one demon wraps rope around the two making out and like squeezes it so hard, like their faces are pressed up against each other. It's like almost killing them, and then she like hangs the guy, throwing him over the balcony. It's one of those theaters that has like two different levels to it. And the one chick like passes out onto the stage, yeah, not the stage, like in front of the screen, and the pimp is like, "Holy shit, she's a friend of mine!" Like, I just love how he says everything. Like, every line out of his mouth is gold. And this is when shit gets crazy. After the transformation scene, you got the guy getting hung, and then the one guy gets his throat ripped open, and they linger on that effect for so long. It doesn't look realistic, but it's fucking brutal. And then the blind guy gets his eyes ripped out. So mean. Like, the guy can't see already. Now he's getting his eyes gouged. Then the movie gets extra supernatural and scary when they realize that they're trapped. All the doors are missing. Like, they open up the outside doors, but behind it, there's no exit. It's just a brick. Then we get an amazing scalping. Probably my favorite kill in the movie. That was just awesome. Like, I don't know why this chick separated from everybody like that, but that's what happens in horror movies. When you separate and you go off on your own, you get scalped. Then we get like the best speech in the movie. Tony the pimp, he's putting it all together. He's like, "She cut herself with that mask. Get it? And because of that scratch, she became a demon, an instrument of evil. Just like they said in the movie. You heard him, right? We gotta stop it. We gotta stop the movie." And then they go up and they stop the movie, but that doesn't stop shit. And the blind guy seems to have it all figured out, just like he figured out that the mask was evil before he ever touched it. And, he's like, "It's not the movie, it's the theater." How do you know that, buddy? And this is when it cuts to the car thieves snorting coke out of a Coke can. And like I already said, you can take all this shit out. Tony the pimp gets a big old chunk of his leg like chewed off, and then later on when he's a demon running around, he's running around just okay. I don't think there's even any part of his leg missing. I didn't really pay that close attention, but he seemed like he was running around just okay with that fucked up leg. They cut back to the car thieves, and they're like scraping cocaine off of this woman's tits with a razor blade. And they get to the theater, and the theater just lets them in. And then the blind guy gets out like not even 2 seconds later and attacks the cops. So that explains how the entire city is under attack at the end. The reveal of the girlfriend being a demon in the air vent was pretty cool, how they did it. They just kept showing these hands crawling, the demon hands, and you just thought that they were being followed by a demon. But it was actually his girlfriend's hands that were demon-like, but her face was normal. So it's kind of a cheat. Like, why were her hands transformed but her face wasn't? And they're just like crawling. He can hear the nails scratching up against the air vent, and he's like, "It sounds like it's getting closer." Then he gets his girlfriend in front of him, and she starts crawling. He's like, "It sounds like the demon's in front of me now," and she turns around and she's the demon. So that was a pretty cool sequence. Then we get even more gory bits here. We got fingers of the demons getting chewed off and blood gushing out into the woman's mouth, and this poor woman gets her head crushed in the folding seat, and it's just so fun. Like, the guy gets on a fucking dirt bike and starts driving around. He's going like on top of the seats somehow. He's like a dirt bike expert all of a sudden. He's got a samurai, he's chopping at people, and then this fucking demon comes out of another demon. This chick, Kathy or whoever, she like just gives birth to a fucking demon like out her back though. It comes right out of her back. It's just as big as her, and that thing looked awesome. I wish we could have seen more of it. Then out of nowhere, a helicopter crashes through the roof because of all the craziness that's going on outside of the theater that we don't see happening. But the helicopter goes through the roof, and he turns the helicopter back on. The blade's going, chopping off heads and slicing these demons. I mean, it just gets crazier and crazier, and now it's provided them a way out because it has like a winch and a grapple gun that they can shoot and get their way out. And then Chrome Skull comes back, and they push his face down on like rebar, like 2 pieces go through his face and his eye. It just gets gorier and gorier, and I fucking love it. And so, yeah, and then they just see that the entire city is under attack. Craziness around every corner. They get picked up by this Jeep that has little Bob from Lucio Fulci's The House by the Cemetery. And then all of a sudden, our final girl, the girl we've been following since the very beginning, she, I guess, got infected at some point, and she's a demon, and little Bob shoots her off the Jeep. So that was great too. That was unexpected because, you thought since she was like the main girl that she was going to make it out, but nope. She's dead. So those are my thoughts on Demons. Fun movie. What did you think about it? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, if you like what you've seen here, you can hit this like button and become a subscriber today just by clicking on my cartoon face in about 5 seconds. And remember, it's just an opinion. You don't need to get butthurt about it.